Hello there. Hey. Hi. So as Steve said, normally when I stand in front of people, it's with a banjo, and you're all normally drunk. So this should be quite interesting. So a bit of background: we've been using the Google Search Appliance for about 4 years now. In honesty, it's fantastic in doing what it does, which is to index our results perfectly. It serves a lot of people very well. So that's great, but we want it to do a bit more, and hopefully I'll come on to explain what that is. A bit of background about NHS Choices for those of you who haven't heard of us. We're Europe's largest health website. We get around 35 million visits to our site a month, of which 2 million people use the on-site search. So that's a fairly large number of people using our search. We've got about 60,000 pages of information and data, and this splits roughly down the middle. So you've got information content, which will be things like conditions, so asthma, all of those kind of things. You've got treatments for those conditions. You've got guides. So we've got vaccination planners, we've got pregnancy guides, so on and so forth. Frequent health questions around all of these topics. Public health content, what we call live well. So this is things like stop smoking, do some exercise, that kind of stuff. Pushing government content down your face. You're probably all fairly aware of that. A lot of news and a lot of videos and tools. So that's the content side of it. From the other side, it's what we would class as our data, the organisations and services. So your GPs, your hospitals, and the services they provide. This then breaks down into things that we would call profiles. So this would be how many GPs you traditionally have at a GP, whether they speak a different language, what time they're open, all of the useful things you might want to know about your services. Scorecard metrics, which is about as interesting as it sounds. This will be things like for a hospital, what their readmission rates are, and in the worst case, what their mortality rates are. So again, helping the user to make a decision about where they go for their treatment. And finally, we've got user-based comments for good or for bad, so people can come on and leave a comment about the particular organisation they've seen. Important, I think, at this point to note that with this 60,000 pages of content, all of this information tends to be siloed into little areas, and that will be hopefully immediately apparent as we go through this presentation. So what are we actually looking to achieve? So as I said, we've had the GSA in place. We want to do a bit more with it. So this information we've got is fantastic, and as I said, the GSA does a fantastic job of indexing this and serving it up to our users. However, as I've said, the content is siloed in that we've got all of these little bits of information that it's very hard to join up. So for example, if you search for a dentist, I would expect personally to see something alongside where my dentist is about my teeth. So gum health, teeth health, that kind of stuff. It's very hard for us currently to serve that information for people when they're searching for it. So we need to join this information up. We need to empower, if you will, our user to make the most of their health journey whilst they're there. The other side of stuff is that we need to modernise what we do. I'll come on to show you what our search page looks like at the moment, and it's not particularly modern. People expect a consistent search experience wherever they are on the internet. We'll come on to see what people think of search in terms of Google shortly. So it's something we need to update as well. And obviously there's a bunch of new technology out of the box that we can use. In fact, one of our partners, Gordon down here, will be doing a live demo after this to show you how we can tie into some of this technology. Okay, so where we are now, must stress this, our search needs modernising, but it's not the technology we use. So we've just updated to the latest version of the GSA, and as I said, Gordon will be doing a demo as to some of the things that can do later on. The other side of this is to actually look at our users. So as I said, we've got this siloed content, all of the data and content is walled off, very hard for our users to find what they're looking for. And the other side of this, as I mentioned, is how people use the internet, particularly search, has changed since we last deployed 4 years ago. So we need to make sure that we're actually providing a relevant search experience for them. Okay, so this is NHS Choices search page. You can see we've searched for dental health, and what you get is a list of blue links, which is fantastic if you're searching in 2006. However, we're not, so we need to update this. This, if you compare it to this, and this is a Google search, obviously not for health. This is Henry VIII, although I do believe he did die of syphilis, so if he'd come to our website, maybe he could have saved himself that particularly painful death. What we've got here, we've got faceting at the top here. So it's breaking the information down into chunks. It's making it much more accessible. We've got a knowledge graph here. You're probably all familiar with the knowledge graph. It's information, it's rich. It gives you pretty much everything you need to know at a glance, and then further places to go. Related content, what other people are looking for. So as you can see, there's a fairly large disparity between what we're doing and what Google are doing. So in order to counter this, we did some user testing. Everything we do at Choices is supposed to be based around user testing. the end result here is that I have thousands of ideas for what I want search to do. If our users don't agree with any of that, it's thrown away and we start from scratch. So 8 face-to-face interviews, we asked them, here's our search providers done by Google, Yahoo, Bing. Also looking at how search works on eBay and Amazon as well. Showed them mock-ups, which we'll see in a second, and asked them really, what are we doing here? What are we doing right? What are we doing wrong? Where do we go with this? Interesting point here is that all of the people, the 8 face-to-face interviewees, they didn't call it searching, they called it Googling. So that gives you an idea of what people think search is. They don't think it's search, they think it's Google. So this is the first one. This is, again, dental health on an information tab. So we've got faceting across the top. We've got our rich results down the left-hand side. We've got something that looks suspiciously like the knowledge graph. I hope you're not going to sue me for basically just stealing that from you. We've got videos that are related. We've got some information here about cleaning your teeth because it's related to dental health. We've got the related things down the bottom. So hopefully you can see this looks a bit more like a Google version, a modern search. If we click across to the services tab, we've got a map, obviously really important if you're looking for a dentist. We've got information about where that dentist is, how you get in contact with them, what other people think about it, and then your deep links down the left-hand side. One more screen, this is another one we showed to our users. This is more the eBay, Amazon model, so it's the related and what other users search for. Now, interestingly, one of our users said, I don't really care what the other idiots who are using your website are looking for. So whilst flippant, I think it's a fairly important point because health is very personal. You don't really come on to browse for health. You come on because you've got a reason to come on. So, based on all that, what are we looking to do? We're going to try and bring that content together. So unsilo our content using something like semantic enhancement to make sure this content is relevant to our users where possible. For things like maps, where someone's looking for something, that's a key thing to do. If someone is looking for something, give them a visible point of reference as to where that might be. As I said, the key thing for us is to unsilo this content, to break it out of the small chunks it's in, to present it in a unified manner to our users. Some of the technology stuff, and as I said, Gordon will hopefully show you how some of this works as well. We've got geolocation. It's basic. It's simple these days. People expect you to know where they are to serve you the content relevant to them. We've got semantic enhancement, so bringing all of this content together. What I call smart search, I'm not entirely sure that's the industry standard use for that, but an idea for this is if you're looking for a GP, it's 10 at night, your GP's probably shut. However, there's a pharmacy 5 minutes down the road, there's a walk-in centre 10 minutes down the road, so putting you really where you need to be rather than where we think you should be. And obviously we've covered faceting as well. And again, another quote from a user, they just wanted us to make it more like Google. They said they trust Google, they wanted things to look like Google, so it gives you an idea of where we are with that. So, how can the GSA help us to achieve what we're looking to do? There's a couple of points here. We've got one box technology. Now, if you've ever searched for weather using google.com, you type in weather SE1, for example, box pops up, shows you your weather. That's an example of what one box can do. It's bringing disparate information together in a nice, easy, accessible format. Leads us nicely onto consistent indexing with collections. So this is bringing your information together in a rich hub. It's unifying that content so users get what they want. And the other thing we can do is work with our partners, work with the Google partners who are fantastic. They live and breathe this stuff. They understand what the GSA can do, how it can be used to leverage the content. So working with these guys, hopefully we can make our dreams reality. So our ideals, everything we've talked about here, building on that particular brand of tying everything together, unifying this content to provide the user with a full set of results for them. And it's really key here is that, as I said with our user testing, everything we do needs to make sure that what our user is getting is the right information. For me, if we could make search something that they didn't know they were using, if it's just another part of navigation for them, if we don't just bolt it on to the site, but we use it as a central pillar for them to find what they need, that to me is how search should work. So, my final slide here, one of the things we asked the respondents to do was to cut up everything we'd shown them and provide a perfect search page, if such a thing can exist. So I'm just going to talk you through what we've got. Again, we've got the knowledge graph here, so you've got some fantastic videos which you can watch about this one. This is obviously asthma and not dental. Some information about asthma here. Tells you it's a condition, what it's related to. Here are your services, they're near you. Here's what people think of those services. Here's how you get in contact with these services. And if you want any more information on anything to do with asthma, here are your links. So hopefully this It's much more holistic. As far as I can see it, this is A, what our users want, but it's B, it's modernising our search. It's bringing us into 2014, and it's in line with what people expect for search. So hopefully this will not only just solve those problems, but make our information easier to use. So thank you very much for listening. If you want to come and ask questions at lunch, please do. Thank you.